Hey, it's Mastin, Kipp, and I'm here. Welcome to your daily coaching conversation. I'm in Venice, California, in the canals doing a little gorilla shot. So you may hear some background noise. You may see some people walking behind me here if you're on the YouTube. And today I want to talk to you about how you can actually change the world. I know that when you watch the news or when you look out into the world, it can be disorienting and can be kind of scary. And you can feel really powerless, actually, that you are not as powerful as the media or the government or any of the corporations that are out there. And what's interesting is that nothing could be further from the truth, because it doesn't really matter who is hosting what news show. It doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter who's in the Senate or who's in Congress. What really always matters is how you respond to the stimulus of the world. And so when something is going the way that you don't want it to go, when something is going contrary to how you think it should be, when you disagree with what's going on in the world, the natural inclination is to argue with it. The natural inclination is to blame other people, and the natural inclination may be to sort of just say that we're going backwards. And I just want to share with you today that actually nothing could be further from the truth. You have basically one primary question that you can ask yourself, which is, are you going to participate in the problem, or are you going to participate in the solution? If you ask yourself that question and you say, I want to participate in the problem, well, we can be honest and just say, well, you're a part of that problem. And what that looks like is, if you hate someone who hates you, well, then you've joined the darkness with them. If you judge someone who's judging you, you've joined the darkness with them. If you marginalize people who have marginalized you, then you are doing to them what they have done to you. So what's sort of ironic about the way that the world works is that which we see in others is actually a part of ourselves. So what this means is the hate, the anger, the rage, the powerlessness, the ignorance, whatever you see in someone else, and it triggers you and you identify with that, there's a part of you that feels that way too. And so what we want to do is not blame other people. We have to understand that if anyone is acting in a way that we disagree with, first and foremost, they're our teacher. Second of all, they're most likely in pain and survival pain. And it's an opportunity for us to step more into our heart and more into love. If you look at any of the great teachers and any of the great revolutionaries of our time, whether it's Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Jesus Christ, Joan of Arc, anyone who really caused a revolution, there's this opportunity to have what's called a non-violent reaction. And on top of that, it doesn't mean that you're just going to be a carpet that people walk over. Martin Luther King Jr. was not a carpet. Jesus Christ was not a carpet. Gandhi or Mother Teresa weren't carpets. They acted from a place of love and compassion. One of the things that Mother Teresa was once asked is, when you look into the world, what do you see? And her response was, I see Jesus Christ in all of his disparaging disguises. What this means is that there's far more that we have in common than we have separate. And when you see somebody else in pain, whether they're black, white, brown, orange, whatever color their skin is, when you see somebody else in pain, the opportunity is not to judge them for that, but to actually understand why they're in pain. Because if we can build bridges instead of walls, if we can have compassion instead of judgment, that is how the world starts to change. And nobody can bring you this but yourself. No government institution can bring this to you. No media institution can bring this to you. No church can bring this to you. All of that is out there in the world. And at best, people who are teachers, who are spiritual guides, people who are priests or bishops or monks or whatever, at best are way showers, meaning they can show you perhaps the way to your own awareness, enlightenment, to your own heart, to your own center of love, to realizing God, whatever you might call that. But ultimately, it's something that you have to step into. So when you see things are going wrong in the world, you have a choice. Am I going to participate in the solution or the problem? If you're going to participate in the solution, first and foremost, you have to take ownership for how you have been responding to the darkness and say, you know what? I was judging those who were judging me. I was marginalizing those who were marginalizing me. I was hurting those who were hurting me. And I was actually focused on what was going wrong. And now I need to participate in the solution. And so the solution looks like what? For you, the solution looks like, how can I take responsibility for my life? How can I step into abundance so I have more to give away? How can I find my purpose so that I can help other people find their purpose? How can I, build a bridge to people that I disagree with and find common ground? This is what it means. It also means that you can step into, instead of powerless anger where you just blame other people for your circumstances, or you blame somebody in office for why you're here, take a page out of Martin Luther King Jr.'s book and talk about righteous anger. This is anger that moves the world forward. It's anger that steps you into some type of transformation that has a positive transformation versus just blaming other people. So you need to be a part of the solution. Anger is a very powerful emotion. Anger is like nuclear energy. You can either power a city with it or you can destroy a city with it. It's up to you how you choose to use it. When you are in a victimization, a place where you're blaming other people, we use anger to tear people down. But when you come from a place of self-responsibility, when you come from a place of recognizing that you are the light of the world, when you come from a place of realizing that only you can be responsible for the outcome of your life and how you relate to life, then instead of using anger to destroy, you can use anger to build, to create something, to create a movement and speak into what you are for rather than what you are against. Martin Luther King Jr. was for equality, not against racism. Jesus Christ was for love, not against sin. Gandhi was for the liberation of his people, not against the British Empire. So the idea is you have to speak what you want to create into the world from a place of understanding, from a place of compassion. And when you do that, when you start to end your own cycle of victimization, no matter what you've been through in the past, then you step into being a part of the solution. The only way that we can change the world is if we each individually go through this process. So the media, the government, the economy, other people, whoever out there does not have the power to control how you feel. Ultimately, the emotions that you experience come from the meaning that you give life. If you read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who was in the Holocaust, lost most of his family at Auschwitz, he talks about this at a deep level, talking about how important the meaning is that you give events. Like right now, someone's walking by and they're speaking. Does that mean I'm being interrupted, or does that mean I have a chance to point out the fact that it's cool that we're doing this live in the canals? So the opportunity here is, what does it mean if you disagree with someone or someone's hurting you, you feel marginalized? Does it mean that you should attack back? Because here's the thing, when you attack back, that act of attack or aggression produces defensiveness. So the attack-defense cycle is why there's been violence in the Middle East forever. It's why there's been warring nations forever, because we attack and defend, and we have to interrupt that pattern. And the way that we interrupt that pattern, first and foremost, is with you in your life. So how can you step into taking personal responsibility for how you have associated with the world? How can you speak into the solution? How can you use righteous anger to solve problems instead of blaming people? How can you focus on helping people today? You know, if we spent, 50% of the time helping people that we would spend complaining about things, imagine how much could change, right? So instead of complaining today, do something about it. Instead of complaining today, take ownership. Instead of complaining today, recognize that you are in control of the meaning of your life. You are in control of this part of the universe, this body that you're in. You're in control of that. And when you recognize that, that is how you claim your power. That's how you take your power back. And that is how you step into the solution and no longer contribute to the problem. So your opportunity today is, I decide to be a part of the solution. I'm going to speak the solution. I'm going to use my anger for good. I'm going to choose to power the city and provide light, not take out the city and destroy. And I'm going to inspire other people to do the same. I'm not going to put the government or the economy or the media or anyone else on notice for why I feel that way. I'm going to take ownership of that, and that is how you change the world. And if you do that, you set the example for others, and there's a massive ripple effect. So my greatest wish is that this is not something that you just hear me say, but that you actually implement this today. And as always, you get out there, take action, and make it real. We'll see you soon.